What's up, everybody? I want to make a quick video. I'm reading a book. It's called the Book of Jasher. Excuse how tore up. I'm reading a lot of it, but it's the Book of Jasher. Now, they didn't have a letter J in the Hebrew alphabet, so they used the letter Y. So really the pronunciation of Jasher, which how we say it, really is the Book of Jasher. So back in the Bible days, Jesus wasn't called Jesus with the J. So back then, if you would have walked around and heard people call his name would have been Yeshua or Yahashua, or some people say Yahuwah, but either way, Yeshua is with the Y. They didn't have the J. That pretty much just kind of why the Book of Jasher. But anyway, I wanted to say that this book, I would recommend people to read it because the Book of Jasher was mentioned in the Bible. Now, I didn't look this up and I probably should have. It's mentioned in one of the Old Testament books, but it's basically the Jewish history. So it's not that it was kept out of the Bible, it's just one of those books that was really just kind of more Jewish history than it was anything to have put in the Bible. So it gives more of a background of what happened with some of the characters. And let me tell you, I'm not going to give a bunch of explanation, but I will say this. There's a story in there, and the way, if you watch the Ten Commandments, I know that they was off on a lot of things, but they really was off on what they did when it came down to the story of Moses. Bible don't really give a lot of background on it. It talks about it, but it doesn't really get into the depths of what happened with Moses or Abraham and certain ones. And you kind of like left off, like what happened? This book kind of explains some things that you might be kind of confused a little bit. One of the things I didn't even know, Moses, after he killed the Egyptian, he went and ran off, which that was, of course, that was a part of the story. But you don't know what happened kind of in between a little bit. But I do know that when he ran off, what it didn't talk about was he ran off and he actually became a king of Cush. Cush, if anybody knows Black history, Cush is over in Africa or over in the Egypt area. So he went over there and became a king for 40 years. I was like, what? So he became a king. Then, if you watch the Ten Commandments, and he's over there, he runs into the girls around the well. He runs into the sisters. If I'm not mistaken, the father's name was Jethro. But either way, they get around, he see the girls, and once he get around them, he fights off the shepherds because the shepherds are trying to get the girls away from trying to get water. So he fights them off. They go tell their father. So in the Book of Jasher, the girls was telling him like, hey, we had this Egyptian that came and saved us, and he actually fought off the shepherds. He was like, go get him and let me talk to him. Let me see what's up with him. Well, I didn't even know Jethro threw him in there for 10 years in prison. Now, in the Ten Commandments, they got Charleston Heston, he in his 30s, and they making it look like Moses rolled up on them when he was in the 30s. No, he was actually king over in Cush for 40 years, and he pulled up being the king, and they chose him to be king when he was about 22, 26, somewhere in that age range. He gets over, become king. He's over there for 40 years. He come out from over there, but basically the king dies in Cush. They elect Moses as the king, and he reigns for 40 years, and he come out from over there. They brought him down. You gotta read about it. But they get him down for being a king, and he's 66 years old by the time he roll up. So when he roll up in Midian, he runs into the girls, run into his wife, which was Zipporah. And at this point, he's 66. He gets thrown in prison for 10 years. So by the time he get out, he's 77, 76, 77 years old. So I'm like, yo, that's crazy. He didn't start off young trying to get the children of Israel out of Egypt. He was in his 70s. I'm almost towards the end, like finishing up. But yeah, there's some stuff in there I would advise people to read. There's some stories that kind of give just that backstory of what happened, even with Adam, with Abraham, with Isaac and Jacob and Joseph. It just gives more of an elaborate story of what happened. I think it's pretty cool. Just thought I'll go ahead and put that out there for everybody. Like, follow, share. Holla at y'all.